Hello there, welcome to a showcase of the old Dota. I put the bots on easy so that the lanes don't get pushed. I don't know how much time it'll take for me to say everything I want to, but last time I got the bots actually pushed too fast. Dota was different back then. I'll try to show you some of the things that were different and some of the things that were important. Hopefully I won't need to use cheats, but I think I will cheat some gold just to get a blink dagger.
Sharp as the moon's crescent.
In Dota back then, there was this better atmosphere. As you can see, the visuals. It's a bit more contrasty. It's a bit more atmospheric, and yeah, I really liked it. I'll show you the map, but first, immediately you'll see there's a different turn rate. The heroes have a big turn rate, and if you try to go to a different direction, or it takes you a bit, it kind of gives you away when you're trying to attack, and it's harder to harass because you're attacking and then if you fall back, it takes a bit, so the enemy gets in a hit as well. At least this happens when attack range is different. So normally attack range is 100% an advantage, but in this case it isn't so much. And even with blink dagger, and that's why I bought it, normally you can just blink, but she has to turn facing almost, not the full way, but it's important, and blink costs mana. There's a lot of tree density going on here, and there are a lot of juke spots between the trees. Some of them accessible only if you have a quelling blade or tangos to cut the trees that you're actually trying to pass through. It's the arrow also, and some spells are different, like the arrow travels a lot faster. Not a lot, but like 100 to like 50 units or something. Of course, camps are different, and this particular tree, we'll talk about it in a second. As you can see, the bots get aggro. The creeps get aggro. The HP is different. Heroes have similar starting HP, but they gain less HP per level. They also regen a lot slower, 0.7 as you can see. Same goes for mana, very slow, making each mana regen very important if you want to spam your spells. In fact, this is one of the strategies back then, was to not commit, because if you commit you lose HP and it's hard. So having a hero like Zeus with a lot of mana regen behind him counted for more than you think, because you can spam your spells from a distance without risking anything, and you either force the enemy out of the lane, or if your ally has some chase mechanic, they could capitalize. And chasing heroes were the ones that got ahead fast. It was different back then because tanks weren't so tanky. I mean, they're still tanks, but they were different. Even tanks, I mean, even now tanks die, but back then it felt like they would die easier. Tree density is important because it makes heroes that can cut trees, like Enigma. Any hero, usually offlaners, have tree cutting mechanics. It makes them important when you're an offlaner and you're diving this tower. The enemy is running away to the tower, and you want to chase them, but you want to chase them in this angle or like this. So cutting down these trees could be the difference between getting a kill and not. The arrow used to pass for creeps back then, but it doesn't matter. Regen mattered a lot. There were very few heroes that had base regen, had a high base regen back then, and it meant that the damage you take is permanent unless you use a tango. Tango gives you like 7 HP regen. I don't know how much it gives you now, but you have, with some heroes, if you buy a ring of health, like this little ring, at the start of the game you have 8 regen like I had with the tango right then. So having a tango now is like having a ring of regen, which is cheaper now, is like eating a tango back then. So it's from my experience, it matters a lot. So spamming spells wasn't a thing back then. As you can see, I barely regen them. Like, I don't want to waste my mana, and the mana pools are lower. Buying all stats, like I've had the build. Also, wand was 3 branches. I had a starting build with like 4 or 5 branches because all stats mattered. So you would get all stats because you wanted the strength, you wanted the mana regen, even the little bit of mana regen, and of course the little bit of agility if you're an agi hero. So this mattered. Ring of Aquila mattered because of the mana regen and also the damage, and the build-up, it being created out of little pieces. And a lot of the pieces you could get from this side shop. Getting a stout shield and a quelling blade were very important. In the laning phase, to cut the trees, to escape, to juke through the trees, to chase through the trees, to get in a good ganking position between the trees. Potions were also important. Supports sometimes bought like 2 potions. If you're on a tank or even on a support, you can tank a bit for your ally, and then you run through the trees. If they don't have vision, the potion ticked off so fast that you could heal. You could heal in a very short amount of time. I'll try to show you this without dying. And what you could do is you just sit, not sit necessarily, but bait the enemy when you're low HP, and then go between trees and heal, and by the time they reach you, you're nearly healed. Also show the damage. So I would be like this HP, I would be running, and I would be using a potion. By the way, creeps cancel potions. So that's that heal, as you can see, that's very fast, and it matters if you're in a clutch scenario. You could, even if you don't get fully healed, if the ticks of the damage, even if you have a damage over time, if they tick slow enough, you could heal just a bit, enough to survive. The next thing I wanted to talk about was supports bought multiple consumables because of this. They would have like 2 potions or 3 potions, and they saved them for their allies, and they would let their core hero do a lot of the things. They would only harass and roam. It was a different thing back then because supports, you didn't need so much as support because nobody would initiate on you so desperately like they do now, unless they were grouped up and they were actually playing some very grouped up Dota. But it was harder to get away with easy kills. You had to harass a lot before you started the kill. And that's another thing I want to thought that's still valid to this day. The trick is to get the enemy low HP, and then when you commit, you go in for the kill. You don't commit
Good idea. Bullseye.
um, in a bad way. You don't commit at the start. You do some damage, and only after they're low HP you start
Top is
to
missing. Missing bottom.
focus them and also chase. Before then, you don't let them on
The battle.
to you having, and also save your spells for the decisive moment, because you don't want them escaping. So when they're actually 100% trying to escape, that's when you want to slow them, that's when you want to stun them. That strategy is still viable to this day. I mean, it's not exactly a strategy, it's just a bit of common sense. Stout Shield and Quelling Blade were some of the things that everybody bought in lane. Even ranged heroes, it doesn't matter. Of course, on melee it was very important,
Forward
because you
bye-bye.
had to get closer to the creeps and you got harassed. But having these two items and also tangos means 3 of your slots are occupied. You're gonna get probably
Your bottom tower is
boots,
under attack.
so
Good idea.
that's 4 slots. You have 2 more slots. And if you want to juke with potions, that's 1 slot, and if you're gonna have a TP, that's also 1 slot. So that's all your slots. You didn't necessarily need to rush boots because they were on the side shop right here. So Stout Shield, Quelling Blade, and Tango were very important. Usually the other things would be stat items just to be able to do a bit more damage, to have a bit more mana, to survive a bit more, to survive the enemy hits a bit more, tank for your ally, or even, survive and escape. Um,
On the prowl.
Buying Ring of Health early, especially from this shop, was also important. It cost a bit more, but it let you fight along with Stout Shield. Ring of Health plus Stout Shield was a build up to the
Free ride in
Vanguard,
perfect
and
weather.
it helped you get good harass in lane, be able to fight all the time, just like I do
Missing bottom.
in the lane. I mean, fight all the time and not die, still be healthy. So on supports, you would get different items, and on cores, you would get whatever gets you damage. So that's why supports carried the regen essentially, letting the core hero have more damage items or a ring of health and whatever. So yeah, that's why supports bought sometimes like 2 free salves. Not necessarily at the start of the game, but soon after. It's because the core wanted more damage to be able to last hit and also harass, especially if the core was ranged.
Leap forward.
A few of the juke spots, I'll show them. They're not exactly juke spots, but they're where you go as a hero to escape the enemy.
Agreed.
So there's a tree around here. I think it's this one. Yeah. And then if you cut another one here,
Forward
you
bye-bye.
can pass through. Normally, it's not that difficult. You get hit by the tower once. Of course, you can cut another tree and not get hit by the tower. It's not that difficult. The Blink Dagger cost mana. I don't know if I showed this already. Viper had a different skin.
On track.
Some heroes had different skin. This is the patch exactly after Lion got his skin update. Yeah,
As you wish.
that's still used to this day. I'll show you the map soon. Let me
Free
see.
ride.
Before I show you the map, I'll show you Pudge's thing because
To the
it's right
match.
here. So Pudge, what you would do with Pudge, you would come here,
On the
stack this
prowl.
camp. You could stack it even from here by cutting the tree. Again, Quelling Blade important.
To the battle.
And
Top is missing.
creeps were awake at night, I think.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's not like now. Creeps are awake at night. You
Forward.
can't go, or maybe it's not. It might not be
Top
nighttime
is
yet.
missing.
Let's see what it says. Yeah, it's still day because the day lasted 15 minutes, I think. Or 10 minutes. Or, I don't know. I don't think I saw nighttime yet. It might not be nighttime, I don't know. It might be different, I don't know,
Your
sorry.
middle tower
Um,
is under attack.
so the idea was, you cut this tree, you stack the camp, you get Pudge over here,
Leap
and
forward.
just before the creeps start attacking him, and you hook the enemy there. So just before this creeps start attacking him, you hook the enemy here, and then you press rot to do damage to the creeps, so they get aggro, and you move your Pudge this way just a bit. By the time you move, the enemy is already in this position. The creeps are aggroed, but you have essentially moved out and they're trying to hit your enemy. And so the idea was like the hook damage, the rot damage, and also the
On the
creep
prowl.
damage. It got you a really fast kill, and even if you die suiciding or to the neutrals, it doesn't matter if you're Pudge support, right? So that would be a strategy. Another
On track.
hook location was this. You would hook from between the trees, hooking probably here, and then
Forward
move
by
here.
rounds.
They would eventually cut the tree, but if you got even a second of him staying near you, it could mean a big difference. And also,
Your
because
bottom
the
tower
spot
is
is
under
so
attack.
clutch, so tiny, it's a good setup for the arrow. The arrow could come either
Your bottom tower is under
from
attack.
here, or from here, or from here. Because if Pudge trusts you, if you trust Pudge
Your
actually,
middle tower
you
is
can know
under
where
attack.
to land. There are multiple places like this. There's one for Dire here. So you're here between a lot of trees. The tower, if you're Dire, the tower has vision here because you're
Missing
giving the
middle.
tower vision. And there's a lot of trees there, you cannot see the hook coming. It's very deadly. Of course, they can cut the trees, but by then.
Top is missing.
And as Mirana, if you're supporting, you pull the creeps here, and after you pull the creeps, you go and you put an arrow on the rune. Not far, so it's not really far. And you can even get less hits like right now. So you don't even need to participate at the rune, but the distance
As you will.
and not quite perfect, but close to perfect. But usually I would go this way because I wanted faster access, and I wanted access to actually fight
To the
with my
battle.
mid hero for the rune. This rune spot has the
We
radiant
ride.
advantage.
Your
The
top
bottom rune
tower is
also
under
has
attack.
radiant advantage. There's a radiant cliff closer to the rune, and the dire uh,
Your
spots
top tower is
they
under
don't give
attack.
the best vision to the rune compared to
Forward, pet.
the radiant. The radiant is a bit more sneaky, but if you're here, you do see the radiant camping. So that's a thing. The bots are passive, don't mind them. Roaming with Marana, regardless of my position, if I'm dire or radiant, I would try to roam mid, try to give the mid hero an advantage by landing a 5-second arrow. As you can see, it's 5 seconds even at level 1.
No mana.
So while they're fighting between creeps, especially if my hero has more
Your middle
creeps than
tower is under
his when
attack.
he's trying to attack, so that the creeps also do damage
Run like the dogs you are.
to the enemy hero. Roshan was over here.
Your bottom tower
This
is
is
under
how
attack.
much damage his passive does. Of course, I'm level 5. He's a higher level.
Middle is
Roshan had
missing.
dire advantage, just like the runes have radiant advantage. It's a bit different. There's a secret shop here instead of being somewhere else. The other secret shop is here. I'll show you the rest of the map. Let me see if
On the
I wrote
prowl.
anything else down. So, roaming
Forward
was
by
much
bound.
more important back then. because initiation was all that mattered. So
Good idea.
roaming with Marana was very viable. All you had to do is essentially get that 5-second initiation,
Forward.
and it meant either the enemy hero was going back to base, or your own mid hero got a kill,
Since you
and
command it,
you're letting the offlaner or the safe laner get solo XP. And if you pulled before that, or the lane is safe, that's a lot. That's a lot of advantage.
as you will it.
And let's see. It was harder to dive towers because of the vision, because of the 3 juke spots, because the tower did so much damage, and even around this minute, let's say, heroes are not super high level
Of course.
as they are now. The leveling was a bit slower, um,
On the prowl.
not so much, but enough that
On
you
top.
needed. As a support, it mattered that you got your 6, but it didn't matter so much beyond that. At least until the 25-minute mark. Beyond the 25-minute mark, yeah, you would want the second upgrade to your level, to your ultimate,
Your top tower
to
is
get
under
the ultimate level 2. But before 25 minutes, that didn't matter. Of course, you could help a lot with it, but it mattered a lot more if, as a support, you were able to come back into the fight
Since you
very
command
fast.
it.
So it mattered actually to be low level as a support, especially if you have a low cooldown ultimate. If, as a support, you're able to, even if you're dead, you're able to respawn fast in, let's say, 15 seconds, and you're able to get uh, you're able to come back
Go while you can.
to your ally, you're able to reinforce them with a second life. So because
Forward.
fights were slower,
Bottom tower is
you
under attack.
usually ran out of mana.
Sing.
In some games where people didn't buy arcane boots, like a mass arcane
Good
boots,
idea.
you would run out of mana. That's why one of the item builds I usually played ability draft a lot. So one of the item builds was, I didn't care so much about getting
Forward, my love.
necessarily Bloodstone or Battle Fury or Lincoln's, but I cared about getting the Perseverance, this thing, because it gave me so much HP and mana regen. I was able to,
Your
if
middle
I was
tower is
careful,
under attack.
I was able to keep going, especially
Your
as
middle
a
tower has
roaming
fallen.
type hero. I was able to keep going and do my thing without needing to bring regen. If I were more of a
On the
damage
prowl.
type hero, a right clicker hero, then yeah, Perseverance wouldn't be so good
Forward,
unless
my
I
love.
built it into Battle Fury or I really needed Lincolns that game. So it might be a wasted 1700
On
gold,
track.
but it's so good because it keeps you on the map essentially. You don't have to go home.
As you will.
Tranquils do that as well, but you don't. You need Tranquils and mana, so you need one hero to get mana regen. And sometimes you would have Lion. He wasn't able to give you mana, so
Divide.
he would buy Tranquils. And if you didn't have a
Your top
CM,
tower is under
you wouldn't
attack.
have mana
Forward.
regen. And CM also buys Tranquils. um, so
Cringe
even if you had
behind.
CM, she
Your top
couldn't burst
tower
give you
is under
mana. She had
attack.
to, you would get mana slowly. So back then, CM's mana was actually not that bad. It
Your
was
top
good,
tower is under
even
attack.
if it's a low amount. Now,
To the battle.
the Dota has gotten to a point where that 2 mana regen that CM gives you is not that much,
Your
but
top
back
tower
then
is
it
under
was
attack.
important.
Your top tower has fallen.
It's important also, to this point, it's important to get kills without committing resources. If you can commit as few
Forward, pet.
mana points as possible, as few HP points as possible, that's what mattered a lot in this game.
Haste.
So roaming had this aspect to it. Of course, Morana is not reliable with the arrow. I'm not saying I was doing the best thing ever. That's why reliable stuns were stronger, stuff that surprised the enemy, preferably for a long time. If I would be roaming good, I would be doing it with Bane, but Bane has such a high cooldown on his ultimate. It doesn't let me... I did it once and then I have to figure out something else to do. So, yeah. Actually, yeah, I can buy the Perseverance from the secret shop, I forgot. The Ring of Health is also from this shop, but Voidstone is not here from what I remember, yeah. So, the Ring of Health is on the side shop, but the Perseverance, the full Perseverance needs to be the Voidstone specifically, requires secret shop. So, let me just show you the map. So these are big amount of trees, and there's a big amount of tree density. There's paths through it. You see the tower has a lot of trees near it, and Dire specifically has top lane, a safe lane that is. The tower is not exactly near trees, while Radiant has this spot right here. So as Radiant, it's easier to get defense. You go between the trees, and if there's something revealing the enemy, even for a little bit, them attacking you even, uh, the tower is able to attack them. Even here, the trees are a bit closer. This tower is hemmed in by trees, this tower is not. So this tower is probably harder to dive than this tower. But there's other advantages. The lane had second lane and a third lane, so it was, this lane was different. Here there's only two lanes instead of there being a third. There's no third lane. Here is there are three lanes, one on the lane and two where the creek ants are. There's a lot of these long stretches, as you can see. It's committing the hero that you're on to go in one direction. If you go this way, there's few spots where you can change direction. You're incentivized to commit to going one way. Same goes for the offlane, like here, right? You either go for this thing or you don't. It's not like now where you have so many options. There's a junction here, a junction mid, a junction here. This junction is a bit bigger, so I guess this place is a bit more versatile than this place, because this place has everything that the top place has, but all in one spot, where this is a bit more versatile. So this place is a bit more versatile. But this place right here, you can see this is like a big wall. It's like a fortress, and the only way to get to the offlane is either you go through the tower. This is where the tower is, right here, or you go around. But by the time you're around, you're near the rune, so you might as well take the rune and go mid gank. Or if you want to go around, you waste a lot of time. Compared to now, there's a little alcove here where you can go to the secret shop, allowing safe laners to go to the secret shop. Back then, safe laners would have a harder time trying to go to the secret shop. Of course, the secret shop was near the, as here it's near the tier 2 tower, and here it's not near the tier 2 tower, so it's a bit different. But there are a lot of things. The towers were positioned differently. The mid towers were closer to tree lines, and with Pudge it meant you can hook between the trees, not being spotted when you throw the hook. That's also important. Illusion didn't dispel. What else? So yeah, it's important to get a kill without committing resources. Your hero's resources, their HP, their mana, and even their cooldown. You would only want to use them when there's a certainty of a kill,
Your bottom
or
tower
there's a guarantee that you're gonna do a lot of damage. Even damage is important, so because their healing is limited, if you commit a stun, you don't want to get your stun cancelled.
bottom tower
If you
is under
commit
attack.
to fighting the enemy,
Your
you
bottom
don't want
tower
to
has fallen.
get pushed back. The HP gain was slower, so
Is under attack.
as you can see, he has drums. Well, he doesn't have many other HP items. Let's see who has the most HP. I think it's Bounty. It should be Tiny actually, yeah. He doesn't have any HP items and he has 1200 HP. So, HP gain was a big thing. Tanky heroes were noticeably different than regular heroes. Bane has Necro and that's it. And he has 1100 HP. He's a tankier hero than others. HP wouldn't go up so much. Even with items. I can buy items right now. I'm gonna go base just to buy some items. So it meant that it didn't really... You can tank and then let your team come in. You had to, you know, plan your strategy. Of course, it's best if you do that even now. But back then, nobody would commit. Nobody would want to go in. Everybody was playing very scared. So on a melee hero, you would have like a, let's say you would have a basher, a wand, and a Sanjin Yasha, I'd say. Because it's also giving a lot of HP. Let's see the HP difference. So it's what is it, like it's 700 to... It's 600 HP. It's not that much. Yeah, it's 600 HP. So any hero with a high HP gain had a natural advantage. That's why carries like Chaos Knight, Sven, they mattered because they could survive just a bit more to actually do the damage. Ranged heroes were squishier and you had to play cat and mouse with them. Okay, I'm close to the end here. I guess I'll show the, like, this, I'll show, again, the lanes, you see? It's forcing you to go one way, but this has a little trick here. You can gank. You can see them jungling, essentially. And you can gank. Or you could put a ward there and spot them. Usually there would be a ward around here. Or on this hill. The map... Oh, I said I wanted to show the map a bit more. Off lane, the tower was a bit more defense. Placed a bit more defensively with trees around for hooking. It was, again, the only path to the off lane from the lane directly is through the tower. So there's no other way. You have to go through the tower. I think you can pass it, of course, especially if it's attacking creeps, but tower hits were such a big deal. It was hard to actually dive towers, even at higher levels. I think with Vanguard, of course, Vanguard blocks a lot of the damage, but there was no Crimson upgrade yet, from what I remember. Okay, I'm just gonna show you the map a bit, and then I'm gonna stop playing. I hope I showed every bit of the map that you wanted. As you can see, a lot of tree density. Actually, this area has fewer trees. In Dota right now, this area has more trees.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
You could do a lot with supports by not being in the lane, so if your core is farming here, I would stay here and spot a possible gank. Or even, yeah, probably here, because you want to spot the gank coming like this, but also coming from this area.
Your top tower
Is it
under
nighttime
attack.
now? Yeah, it's nighttime. So at night, of course, the vision is reduced.
On the prowl.
And there's a different atmosphere too. As you can see between all these trees, you feel a bit vulnerable, I guess. There's a different atmosphere to the game, as you can see. It feels more like a strategy game where you're revealing everything bit by bit, not like now. Dota feels like you, I don't know, maybe it's because I know the map so well.
Good idea.
Creeps would not have such high armor now. Creeps would die easier. And actually,
To the back.
Axe was a way better creep killer than he is now. Axe now feels very weak. He doesn't kill creeps at level 1, but back then Axe used to kill creeps very effectively at level 1, especially compared to now. I won't show you that now because the video is long enough. So I hope you like this showcase.
Forward by bounds.
Towers were also a bit different. I don't know exactly every difference. So far it's damage. Their HP seems to be the same, except for the tier 1 apparently. Yeah, so the tier 1 is different, and the tier 2, 3, and even 4, all they change is damage. Their HP stays the same, their armor goes a bit up. Yeah, so their armor, tier 2, 3, 4 have, no, tier 2 and 1 have 20, 3 and 4 have 30. No, 3 has 25, 4 has 30. Okay, I hope you like the showcase. Let me know if you want to hear anything else about Dota.
On track.
About Dota. I can help you get this working if you're interested.
Rain down on my name.
It's not super hard. I don't know how to play it LAN with you, but we would only have bots, and we would have everybody else we would have to convince to play.
Shadows take us.
How long did this ulti last? You can't ping it. You have to read the description. It lasts the same.
Forward, pet.
The game it felt a lot better back then.
To the back.
I used to do this trick where I would jump with Mirana from one
Good idea.
foot to another. I don't think I can do it now. Anyway, if you want, you can stop watching the video now. I'm not gonna say any more tips and tricks except I'm trying to get my Mirana to spin correctly. Mirana, spin! It's not spin, she can jump from one foot to another.
Leap
From
forward.
one side to another like this. Maybe it was a different patch.
We ride.
Ah, you destroyed my item! Report! Ah, the bots did that back then. I don't think they do it now. But it was a good teaching tool. Now you're not taught this.
Of course.
Okay. Cheers. Bye bye.